Hi, I'm Iarlaithe, and today we're going to talk about diversity in the arts and whether or not young people are represented fairly. Here to help us find out more is Sarala Soul, who, as well as working extensively with young people, is also a vocal artist and a local entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. I'm really looking forward to discussing this issue and hopefully encouraging more people, young people, to get involved with arts and culture.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I am, amongst lots of other things, I'm an artist. I've been doing music for the past maybe 15 years. I started in school and then took a really long break, and then I did a couple of projects with some community groups in my 20s. I'm originally from Dalton, Huddersfield, and I was born and raised in Dalton, and then I moved away for a couple of years to Birmingham. So I kind of had an experience of like city life, and I've always travelled a lot, and my mum's travelled a lot. So I'm quite open-minded in terms of the culture that I've seen and being around different people. So in terms of being an artist, I think I've been highly influenced by lots of different things and lots of different places I've been and people that I've met.
Growing up, did you see people who looked like you or are similar to you in the arts?
I was really lucky because I was brought up in a household where I was introduced to a lot of culture from a really young age. So my mum really gave us like an open door to art, culture, music. So I did see a lot of artists that looked similar to me within TV and records, and I felt like it was accessible. It was something to aspire to, definitely. But I think the basis of me as an artist has come from like soul and jazz, and then influenced by lots of different experiences. I used to work in pubs when I was a teenager, so like I've been around a lot of different eclectic music, from like folk music to country music to charts.
So do you think that the arts still have a diversity problem, whether it's race, disability or gender?
I think we've got a long way to go still in the mainstream media having a platform for everybody. I think there's things that sell still in terms of like what's popular, but I feel like there's definitely way more diversity than there has been in the past. But I feel like, is it for the right reasons? It doesn't have to be one specific part of society that gets the platform. So, for example, young people, it doesn't have to be just one particular type of young person that gets a platform. I think it should be really diverse in showing all of what we have to offer in terms of in the music industry or in any arts and culture. And I think like people who don't normally get voices or don't normally have a platform because maybe their voices aren't the loudest should still be able to be seen and be heard. There's a long way to go still, but there's a lot more improvement than there was, I think, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And like 60 years ago and things like that.
So if someone doesn't see anyone like them doing what they want to do, how would you convince yourself or convince that person that it's still possible to do what they want to do?
I feel like over the years in any industry, there's been a lot of mountains that have been moved in arts, in culture, in music. There's a lot of mountains that have been moved by people just being themselves, and I would just encourage anyone who has a dream or a vision to pursue that and to give it a go, because you don't regret the things that you do.
Exactly.
You regret the things that you don't do, don't you? You know what I mean? There's that saying, isn't there? So I would just say give it a try. If it works, or if you have the opportunity to experience something different, so be it, and just give it a go.
Like you miss the shots you don't take.
Exactly that.
Have you ever felt like you were the only one in a room? How did that make you feel?
I really feel, for me, and I have to be honest about my experience, I have had a really interesting, and I would say maybe because of my personality, easy interaction with the industry, because I'm so open.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily see barriers where there may be barriers. And I think sometimes you have to go beyond people's stigmas and judgment and just be who you are, and that eliminates and eradicates what people think about you.
Yeah.
So if someone's already got an idea of who they think you are, and you come in just being your authentic self and true to who you are, and that feels good for you, it doesn't matter what somebody else's opinion is, and you kind of end up changing the narrative sometimes, and then it gives people a different perspective on, well, I judge this person because of what I thought they would be like, because of maybe prior experience or what I've seen in the media. And then when they've met you, you're completely different, or you're not what they expected. I think just be yourself, be your true authentic self. If it makes you feel good, then that's all you can do, really. I know for other people that I've worked with, they felt like the only one in the room, but I'm not interested in looking at the negatives.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in concentrating on the negatives of I'm interested in more, how do we change that? How do I look at it as being a positive to being the only one in the room? How do I make that a place where other people can come after me? If I've stepped into the room, then it means that there's an opportunity for someone else like me to step into the room.
Yeah.
I'd rather look at it more on an optimistic point of view rather than a pessimistic, like, oh, I'm the only one in the room, it's so crap. I'd rather be like, okay, there's an opportunity here and I've made it into this room so other people can. I try to look on the glass half full rather than the glass half empty. I think that's what makes me get into rooms.
So how would you encourage younger people to think more optimistically about it?
I would encourage a young person to focus on their strengths, on what they're good at, and what they enjoy. And every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Even if things are challenging, try to look at it as a lesson.
Yeah.
And something that you're being gifted to learn from, rather than seeing it as a challenge to take something away. See it as a challenge to add something to your experience. Every experience that I've had in my life that's challenged me, I try to look at it from a perspective of, I'm learning something here, and this is going to make me into a better person, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I would encourage young people to just embrace the challenges, and as long as you're learning something, that's part of life, isn't it?
Yeah. Following on from that question, do you think that some people are represented more than others in the arts?
I definitely feel like you have to know where you are and understand that there has been a structure to certain industries, and who has run certain industries and who's had the money and the influence. And also knowing that everything changes. The society that we live in, the industries have been built upon certain structures, whether it be patriarchal, whether it be racial, whether it be classist. And I feel like them things are shifting and they're changing because society is changing, and that is historically, it's part of human existence, is that everything changes, you know, it has a timeline. Ultimately, now we have platforms for people that didn't necessarily have voices before. I feel like there's going to be more people being heard and more opinions being championed, and then that gives opportunity for change. I really do feel like change is on the horizon, and it's constantly going to be changing, whether there's more women in higher roles, making decision-making roles, whether young people's voices are being heard more. And I think that with that opportunity, there is opportunity for change. With the opportunity to hear other people's voices, there's opportunity for change. But I'm a really optimistic person. So maybe it can be seen as naive to a certain degree. But then I feel like I said in the previous question, there's been mountains that have been moved in industry from people that haven't given up, that have had really wild ideas of change. And I feel like if we keep having that energy towards what can be done in the industry, that's the only way that it can change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What are some barriers that you've seen have prevented marginalised groups from entering the arts or art spaces?
I really feel finances and the infrastructure of knowledge of certain industries and how to access certain things. I really feel like people from marginalised areas a lot of the time don't get access to levels of education and knowledge and insight into how things are done and like how to protect themselves and protect their art and protect their name. It's getting a lot better now because there's a lot more information out there for people to access. And I think like if you've got questions, you can ask AI or Google, or if you don't know the right people in front of you, if you don't have the right people in front of you, there's platforms that you can ask. There's a lot more access to information now. It's getting better, but I think previously, if you didn't have the finances, if you didn't have the information, certain doors were closed to you. It was maybe a lot harder to get into certain industries and a lot harder to kind of get things done. Now we have access to more information, we can do things a little bit differently.
Yeah. What can local creatives do to actively open doors for young people and marginalised groups who don't usually get invited in?
I have to think about this a little bit. I know initiatives that are going on for young people, like HD Sounds, that is Conscious Youth are doing HD Sounds. I think platforms like this, where young people can tune into podcasts and get information, find out about what's going on in your local area, following your favourite local artists, or it depends what type of arts you want to get into. But I would say initially, find a blueprint of somebody who you're interested in or enjoy what they're doing, and find a way to maybe emulate or shadow what they're doing. See if you can access as much time in whatever arts you want to pursue. So whether it be you're a musician, try to get time with a band and rehearsal time. Whether you're an artist or a podcaster, try do things on your own, from your own experience. Try getting your own experience first. I'd say as a young person, getting yourself out there, speaking to people. Speak to people within the industries that you want to go into. Volunteer your time. There's a lot of people that are qualified that are vying for positions. So if you have some experience and whether that's voluntary experience or you've just gone off your own initiative and made your own band or made your own exhibition or done your own podcast, I think it really interests the industry then if you're doing your own thing. Because it's like you've taken your own initiative, you've thought outside the box. It puts you like a peg above the rest when people are looking for somebody within whatever industry you want to go into.
That's actually really useful as well.
It's what I did. I used to volunteer. I used to just make myself I used to just go to studios and hang out and just annoy people until I got a turn on the mic,
That's what I used to do.
Until I got a turn, there would be other artists in the studio. I'd learn from them. I would ask questions. What does this do? Why do you use this? Who's in charge of that? And just a lot of the time, older people do want to teach you, or if people love what they do, they love somebody who's interested in what they're doing. So I used to just annoy people, hang about in the studios until I got a turn, and then you get your moment then, and then from what you've learned and you get your moment, you can fly with it. The doors are open and you just go with it.
Finally, what might someone from an underrepresented background bring to the industry? What do you think the industry needs more of from someone that's from that background?
Ooh, this is an interesting question. I feel like there's so much more to learn about people and about cultures and about... It's not all just mainstream. There's so much more eclectic flavour of art. I love seeing new things, and I love learning new things, and I love seeing new cultures, and I also love infusion of cultures.
Yes.
When cultures, they mix and they create something really interesting. So like classical music and hip hop that have done stuff together, and there's been like rap and opera and things like that. And then the other day I saw, it was an Indian dancer, and she was dancing to a Michael Jackson song, but for like a breakdancing tournament. And I just thought it was so cool to see these different cultures doing something together. I think there's so much that we can learn from each other. I think that there's a lot to gain from being open to each other's cultures. People having that opportunity to share their talents and their whatever it is that they're bringing to the world, whether it be music, art, story. I think everybody deserves to have the opportunity to share their story in whatever way that they choose. And I think that that's how we learn as a humanity.
Yeah.
And that's how we grow and evolve as a humanity, is by being open to each other's stories and learning from that. It's really interesting now with the way the world is, how we can travel and we can access different cultures, that there's going to be so much more to learn and so much more to experience. And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
For us as a people, that we're going to get to experience different cultures, infusion of cultures, and infusion of art. And I think that that's really interesting. And I'm here for it. I'm here to experience that.
I hope everyone's here for it, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would just say to any young people that are listening, try see the glass half full and try to look at things from an optimistic point of view. I know it doesn't always seem like that when you're young, and there's so many options and opportunities, or rather not, but actually try see it that there is opportunity and there is experiences to be had, and that you just have to sometimes pivot, sometimes change the direction in what you think is for you, and enjoy it, enjoy the journey. It's not always easy, it can be challenging, but enjoy it. It's not about sometimes getting to a destination, it's about enjoying everything you're learning in between as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it goes quick, I tell you. I remember being 15, standing on stage, singing in school, and being this petrified little girl, and then 26, 10, 11 years later, going back on stage, finally feeling like I had the confidence to give myself that opportunity. And then most recently, last month, I headlined a show, my first headline show, and it sold out. Nice. In Huddersfield for International Women's Day. So you can't always see that that's going to be the end goal. When I was 15, there's no way. I don't think I could see that I would 20 years later or 15 years later I'd be headlining a show, International Women's Day, having this great opportunity, and it was paid, and I was able to pay all my band, and just keep going. If it's something that you enjoy, if it's something that you love, keep going and enjoy it. Enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you can find loads of interesting podcasts on a variety of subjects by exploring the useful podcast section on the Destination web app. Just search destination.org.uk. You can also find them on Apple, Spotify or YouTube. If you'd like to know more information, please check the podcast description. Finally, we'd like to thank Jimmy for editing, Youth Social for producing, and YPIP for funding these podcasts.